The clouds parted over the Isles of Boreas. It was time to choose. The rebellion was in trouble. Ravens were scouting for the secret rebel base. They needed a game changer. Pieces of the Sky Ripper had surfaced. Renato knew that using it could go catastrophically wrong. But he was sure he could figure out how to use it safely. Also, a temple had risen out of empty desert. The Iblis stone was hidden there. It was a dangerous artifact. It could corrupt its user into a bloodthirsty monster. Maybe he could find a way to use it, to take its power without surrendering to its wickedness. And also, his old friend Lapino needed rescuing. Of course, Renato had a pretty strong suspicion that Lapino had betrayed the rebellion, and he had a gut feeling that he needed to use that to his advantage.
Muy buenas, gente, ¿qué tal? ¿Cómo estáis? Estamos de vuelta en el canal y estamos de vuelta en Stories, de Path of Destinies. Sabéis que llevamos un mogollón de tiempo ya dándole vuelta a este juego, hemos sacado 8 o 9 finales diferentes, pero quiero hacer este capítulo para descubrir el capítulo final, ¿vale? Llevo ya mucho tiempo con este juego, supongo que lo terminaré yo por mi cuenta, pero no creo que suba el resto de finales. Sí que subiré un vídeo un poco de las acciones que tenéis que hacer, ¿vale? Las decisiones que tenéis que tomar para conseguir determinados finales, ¿vale? Un poquito más como guía, pero más rápido. Así que, nada, lo dicho, gente, vamos a conseguir el capítulo final, o sea, el final verdadero, que se supone que son los que están marcados con esta llave. Y nada, vamos allá, gente, vamos a darle caña. Tenemos que escoger a esta, la primera. No puedes hacer nuevos viejos amigos. La rebelión estaba fuera de tiempo y Reinardo necesitaba una pieza definitiva. Aunque Lapino no era lo que cualquiera consideraría una pieza definitiva. Podría crear algún plan útil. Tal vez rescatarlo valió la pena. Vamos a rescatar a Lapino. Empezamos.
Renato finally realized that Lapino was a traitor to the cause. And maybe Renato could use that somehow.
Vale, empezamos y ya sabemos que era un traidor. Reinardo lo podría utilizar de alguna manera. ¿Qué hacer con el conocimiento acerca de la traición de Lapino? Reinardo sería un tonto por confiar en Lapino de nuevo. Debe confrontarlo, o mejor aún, encontrar la manera de utilizar el traidor contra su nuevo amo, el emperador. Quizás Lapino podría ser una pieza clave después de todo. Vale, pues según esto dice que usemos a Lapino. Aparte sale el signo de exclamación, que significa que es un final que nunca hemos, una decisión que nunca hemos tomado. Así que vamos a empezar. Vamos a usar a Lapino.
Renato couldn't quite put his paw on when he'd realized Lapino was working for the Empire. He'd never exactly seen Lapino sending coded messages to the palace, but he was sure. The rabbit had been on too many disastrous missions where he was the only survivor, or where he accidentally missed getting on the boat that went down to the abyss in flames. If Renato could prevent Lapino from getting back to the fleet with all the intelligence he'd probably gathered, it might be worth the trip.
Vale, empezamos, gente. Hemos rescatado a Lapino, sabemos que es un traidor y tenemos que evitar que vuelva con toda la información.
They'd been on so many adventures together. Lapino had talked Renato out of prison at least 4 times, and Renato had rescued Lapino from at least 2 lynch mobs.
A ver si me acuerdo de cómo se juega, ¿vale? Porque llevo bastante tiempo sin jugar. No tenemos nada más que hacer ahí, vale. Es que ya queda muy poco y va a ser demasiado repetitivo, creo yo. Hay otros juegos que podemos jugar, así que prefiero enseñar el final verdadero, el final bueno. Oh, mira, mira, mira el slow. Hostia, esa me la lleva. Ah, es verdad que mejoramos lo de los combos. Si llegábamos a 20, los matábamos de un golpe.
He'd always felt that the rabbit resented him. Lapino was hilarious because he was so down on himself and everyone else. But behind the laughs, he wasn't a happy camper. Was this payback? Or did the Empire have his little white tail in a vice?
Vale, está chulo porque por lo menos es una historia diferente la que nos están contando. O sea, la que nos cuenta el narrador. Tiene en cuenta ciertas cosas que ya han pasado. ¿Hay algo más? ¿Esto me devuelve al mismo sitio? Oh, mira, cojo. Aunque ya no nos hacen falta, ya tenemos todas las espadas mejoradas al máximo. Nada, seguimos. ¿Esta zanahoria? Tenemos puntos de habilidad, eso sí. Apuntar al enemigo con acometida para moverse a través de él y causar daños. No funcionan los escudos. Vale, los enemigos que llevan escudo. Vamos a subir la resistencia.
Cool. Wish I could do that.
Ahora tenemos 3 barritas abajo de la pantalla. Primera vez que me está saliendo lo del contraataque a tiempo.
Lapino must be waiting at the end of the cemetery. Renato wanted badly to confront him for his treachery. But what good would that do him?
Vale, no tenemos más puntos de habilidad, quizás enemigos, ¿no? Sí. Fuera, fuera. Vale, estamos ya en 20, así que van a morir de una. Vale, el cementerio. Aquí supone que está Lapino, al final.
Lapino would betray him. The core was dangerous. And Renato had a fleeting idea that the two ideas went together somehow. And then it was gone again. Ah, damn ideas. They never stuck around when you needed them.
Fuera. Vale, aquí está.
Bloody and exhausted, Renato finally reached Lapino. The rabbit was practicing shuffling his favorite deck. Now that he knew what the rabbit was, there were a few things about him that Renato didn't find so amusing anymore. You sent me an urgent message saying that you're in danger. Oh, I am. The ravens are coming. Now, I got a clever plan to kidnap Zenobia. Renato wanted to clap shackles on the rabbit and shout, "You're a traitor, and I'm not falling for it." But if there was one thing Renato was sure of, it was that the core of the Sky River was dangerous mostly to its user. If he could put it in the Emperor's hands, old Isengrim III might blow himself and his fleet up with it. Yes, that was it.
Está guay, ¿no? Porque utilizamos la información que hemos ido recogiendo en las otras historias para conseguir el final bueno. Estas dos son decisiones nuevas, ¿vale? No hemos cogido ninguna nunca. Denuncia al traidor. Reinardo entonces supo lo buen actor que era Lapino. No es ninguna sorpresa que había sido engañado por ese traidor. Tal vez debería denunciar al conejo, aquí y ahora, poner fin a sus planes y conseguir un poco de venganza. O enviar al traidor a buscar el núcleo. Reinardo entonces supo lo buen actor que era Lapino. O sea, ¿lo has visto? Tal vez podría dar a ese traidor petulante la ubicación del núcleo del Sky Reaper. Y mientras Lapino entrega el inestable arma al enemigo, Reinardo visitaría a Zenobia. Pues... me parece más interesante esta. Espero no equivocarme porque quiero conseguir el final bueno. Vamos a enviarlo a por a por la piedra esta, por el núcleo inestable, y que se lo lleve al emperador a ver si revienta de verdad.
Renato felt like a real hero, brave and smart. He told the rabbit all about the Sky Ripper's God's Eye core. I'll go get the core while you attack Zenobia, he told the rabbit. Oh, wait, I've an even better idea. I'll get the core and you attack Zenobia, said the rabbit. Right, yeah, that is better, agreed Renato. Perfect. The traitor would make sure the Emperor got the core. Now Renato just needed the Emperor to use the core. If he could only get something that the Emperor wanted very badly. Zenobia. He could save her and bait the Emperor at the same time.
Vale, a por Zenobia.
Right. Now, all Renato had to do was fight his way through Zenobia's invading troops, sneak onto her ship and into her bedroom, and kidnap her without any of her dozens of guards alerting her. Then, he would rely on her love for him to convince her how evil her father was, so she'd run away with him instead of going back to her father, who was going to blow himself up. It did sound a little risky. But Renato had a feeling it would work out somehow. It always did.
Convence a Zenobia para cambiar de bando. Vamos a romper esto a ver si me da un poquito de vida. Vale. Estos que van más fuertes me sirven para cargarlo del combo que había en el templo. Mierda, vale. Estaba probando eso. He usado la espada, la magia de hielo. Vale, hay que girar por aquí. Y por aquí. No tenemos habilidad, así que de momento seguimos. Es muy fácil, ¿eh? En cuanto porque hay lo del combo ese a 20 para el insta-kill. Vamos a intentar ir directos. Había que meterse, ¿verdad? Sí. Creo que sí.
Gogglers. Renato hated gogglers. It was almost impossible to sneak past them. If one didn't spot you, another one would.
Creo que era por el agujero, ¿eh? Mierda. Ah, no, está ahí abajo, Zenobia. Un momento, ¿no es Lapi, no?
Renato was halfway to Zenobia's encampment when Lapino showed up. He was disheveled and distraught. They jumped us. I barely got away. Oh, they got the core. Oh, it was all going according to plan, thought Renato. Now he just needed Zenobia on his side. Yes, that was even better. The Iblis Stone. Zenobia could get it. And then the Emperor would have to pursue them. Wait. No. The gem would corrupt anyone. Even her. That's it, he thought. Even Lapino. Even though Lapino was already a traitor, it would turn him against his secret master, the Emperor. He would try to make himself Emperor. And the Emperor would have to defend himself with the core. Boom. He was a super genius.
Envía a Zenobia por la piedra. Vamos a enviar a Lapino a por la piedra Iblis. A ver si sale bien el plan este que ha tomado.
This is terrible, Renato told the rabbit. If only I had gone for the Iblis stone. But now it's lost in enemy territory. He handed Lapino a map. It gives the bearer so much power. We can only hope the Emperor never finds it. What was that? Said Lapino. I think someone's following us. I didn't hear anything. Rabbit ears. You go on ahead. I'll check it out. And with that, Lapino hopped off with the map.
Vale, pues ha caído entero. Nosotros seguimos hacia Zenobia. No, siempre igual. Vale, bueno. Y aquí está, Zenobia.
Renato slinked through Zenobia's ship, making no sound at all. She was curled up on her bed. He'd forgotten how beautiful she was, how sleek, how soft. He tapped her on the shoulder with his sword. She was made of smoke, and he noticed he had a very solid blade to his throat. Did you really think you could capture me? Heard a familiar voice. I just wanted to chat, said Renato. Did you ever wonder why the Emperor adopted you? He needs a sacrifice, someone who truly loves him, to make a bargain with the lost gods. That's a vicious lie. He wants to bring them back. Oh, that's crazy. Why would anyone... They could make him immortal, an eater of souls. And with that, her eyes widened. She understood. Renato told her how he had rescued a priest whose order had been massacred, how he had slept in a burnt village. At midnight, the Emperor's victims had come to him in his dreams to tell him of the hideous eldritch rituals they'd been sacrificed in. He could still see those kittens and puppies, their wide, sad eyes, their moist noses. You can't prove that. I've got a witness at the observatory.
Vale, no tenemos decisión esta vez, tenemos que seguir.
He couldn't tell her, not yet, why he was really here. He didn't want her to be anywhere near the fleet when her father blew himself and Lapino up. So he told her about how the Emperor's obscene rituals had raised ancient artifacts out of the land. How he'd followed the appalling trail of the hideous horrors His Majesty had perpetrated for the sake of his own immortality. Any of this ring a bell? He said. He told me it was all lies. You've always known when I was lying. I always hated that about you, said Renato.
Vale, demuestra a Zenobia que el emperador está loco.
That the Empire hushed up. Renato had rescued a priest whose order had been massacred for one book. He had slept in a burnt village. Dead kittens and puppies had come to tell him what the Emperor had done to them. There was a sign. Take the goat across first.
Vale, un poquito de vida. Creo que era subiendo, ¿verdad? Creo que sí. Vale. Tranquilo. Oh, me ha cortado el combo, tío. Qué cabrón. Están buenísimos todos. Había un ascensor ahí atrás. ¿Ascensor o un TP de estos?
Don't you think I'd know if my father started practicing black magic? Why? Would you join in? No. I'd destroy his books and I'd... Oh, God. Okay, you're not completely wrong. They've resurrected one of his victims. Well, look, I mean, look, it's not exactly alive, but it can talk. A true witness, she said.
Vale, seguimos. Sigo diciendo que ya estaría guay que viniese con nosotros, hiciese alguna cosilla más. Vale, no podemos mejorar nada. Hostia, la parte de los barcos. Mierda. Vale, activa. Se me da súper mal, ¿eh? Activa. Vámonos. Qué bueno. 20 de parte. Buena, perfecta. Vale, ya llegamos al observatorio.
The observatory was a burning hulk. Dead scientists and black feathers everywhere. The Ravens had taken special care to burn the reanimated witness to cinders. Zenobia stared at the carnage. He didn't want me to hear the witness, did he? I guess not. What's your plan? She asked. So, Renato explained his brilliant gambit. Sending Lapino to get the Iblis Stone, become super powerful and corrupted, provoke the Emperor into using the core against him, thus blowing up both of them, and hopefully the fleet too. Let me visit your council, she said, shaken. I want to help. Could he really trust her?
Más decisiones nuevas, ¿eh? Vale, tenemos una que dice, ¿en serio? Dijo, está bien, supongo. El plan de Reinardo funcionó. Zenobia ahora estaba convencida de que su padre estaba loco y tenía que ser detenido. Pero parecía demasiado fácil. ¿Estaba realmente convencida o estaba jugando con él? ¿Por qué dudar ahora? Debería darle la ubicación exacta de la base secreta y reunirse con ella ahí. Y la otra, que es decirle dónde estaba la base secreta, no creo que fuese tan buena idea. El plan de Reinardo funcionó. Bueno, eso lo hemos visto. Mentiría sobre la ubicación de la base secreta, solo para estar seguro. Vamos a confiar en ella, ¿no? Vamos a confiar en Zenobia y vamos a la base secreta.
He'd done it. He'd made Zenobia see how evil her father really was. He wished she didn't feel this urge to join in the rebellion. After all, he'd taken care of the Emperor, right? Yeah, but she'd always been conscientious like that. She told him she had to go somewhere first. So Renato gave her the location of the secret base and they agreed to meet in the ruins.
Hostia, me la valía.
He had a very good feeling about this. What had Zenobia gone off to do? What was more important than meeting the rebel council? Had he made a mistake, sending her to the ruins? No. He knew they could trust each other. He could trust her because she never broke her word. And she could trust him because she could see right through him. Well, she'd probably be there well before him. She at least didn't have to fight her way through rainstorms of ravens.
Una putada, ¿no? Le hemos dado la ubicación de la base secreta. Perfectamente puede ir, reunir al ejército y atacarlo. Fuera. Mola lo de hielo, tío. Vámonos.
Renata wondered how much Hypatia had known about the book she protected. Enough to tell her son to protect it. Enough to tell Renato to protect her son. He'd let her down there.
¿No hay vida? No hay vida. ¿Por dónde es? Oh, me parece que se me ha bugueado. Ah, no, vale. No había visto el camino, digo, me tendría que haber salido un enemigo más y no me ha salido cualquier cosa. Vale, nos acercamos.
As he came around the bend, there was Lupino, unconscious on the side of the path. And Renato could smell a familiar, sweet, smoky scent. Who? Zenobia. It had to be. She never used a combat spell when she could use drowsy gas. That meant she had the Iblis stone. What would it do to her? She hated her father now. She'd kill him for sure. The council wouldn't mind if she killed the Emperor, but murdering her father would destroy her. He had to get to whatever ledge she was on and talk her down from it.
Una putada, porque si ella va a morir ella también. Vale, activamos y seguimos.
The long stairs. So he was close to the rebel base. Nothing was on fire. So far, so good.
Hay que llegar a 20, ¿eh? Vale, perfecto. No, tío. Ahora sí. Vale. No, cabrón, tío. Ven aquí. Vale, ya tiene la piedra entonces.
Everyone in the council chamber was dead. Zenobia stood shivering in the courtyard, drenched in blood. Why? He managed. They started arguing with me. I lost my temper and I wanted their blood. Well, not me. The stone did. Why did you take it from Lupino? I had a plan. You had a stupid plan, she said. I'm going to go kill my father now. No, you can't. You'll just take his place. You'll become worse than him. Get out of my way, or I'll kill you too.
Hostia, ¿qué hacemos ahora? Vale, bien, entonces, dijo y salió de su camino. Zenobia tenía la piedra Iblis, ahora ya era lo suficientemente fuerte como para derrotar al emperador, pero la piedra consumiría su alma. Tratar de detenerla probablemente sería mortal, así que lo mejor era dejarla ir y ver cómo salen las cosas. Esa no nos interesa demasiado, no queremos que ella muera. No, no lo harás, dijo él. Tratar de detenerla probablemente sería mortal, pero los sentimientos que sentía por él tenían que significar algo, ¿no? Él tenía que intentarlo. Vamos a tratar de detenerla. A ver qué pasa. Igual nos mata.
And I won't let you kill the Emperor. Enraged, she raised the sword. You hate him too? He could sense the Iblis stone, yearning for his death. But she didn't strike. If you kill him, he'll destroy you. I know you. Shut up! She shouted, her sword trembling. I won't lose you again. Not for anything. Get away from me, he said, and he was very close. I can't lose you again. And he was in reach of her sword now. I hate him! I hate you too! I love you, he said for the very first time. And then she was weeping. He was holding her. The sword had dropped from her hand. He glanced at the Iblis stone. It was no longer the black of the void. It looked like coal. No. It glowed, like a cinder. It was crackling, burning, crumbling into ashes. You've always loved me, haven't you? She said. She was weak. The stone had taken so much from her. Always, he said. She staggered as he helped her up. Let me take you away. Where? The island of Avalon. The sisters will heal you. He will follow us. Then we need the Farfarer, the fastest ship in the Empire.
Vale, de momento parece que vamos bien. Vale, última parte de la historia. Necesitamos la nave.
They'd have to take it back.
Ábrelo. Vale, vamos por aquí.
Led right into the middle of the fleet. It was a glaring weakness in the defense.
Como mola porque nos partes por la mitad, tío.
Zenobia was in no shape to fight. But he never fought so well. He wasn't fighting for money or loot or a cause. He was fighting for her. For them. His sword danced, his feet flew, and the ravens recoiled from his ferocity.
Hostia, ¿nos darán un bufo o algo, tío? No sé, con las piedras no estaban bufos.
Really ought to put a railing on this thing, he thought.
Podría haber ido por otro lado. No hay vida. ¿Eso se activaba? Sí. Qué bueno, mola. Vale, seguimos. Se ha caído uno. capaz de llegar con toda la vida. No, no. Pero bueno. Vale, siguiente.
And there it was, his beautiful skycraft, the Farfarer. They would fare very far indeed, beyond the Empire, beyond the reach of the Empire, to the mystical island of Avalon. He didn't know exactly where it was, but he knew he could find it. And they would find peace there. Second star on the right, and straight on till morning, laughed Zenobia. And they laughed together for the first time in a long time.
Vale. ¿Y esto? Brilla un montón. Tiene toda la pinta, de ser el final bueno. No, tío, no. No, tío. Te digo, si al final me mata. No lo cures más.
Come on. One fox, no waiting.
Lo va a curar. Vale, siguiente barco. Madre mía. Me puedo curar, con la espada esta me puedo curar. Poco, pero me puedo curar. Ah, sí hemos llegado. Hemos llegado a balas de eso. Hostia, el camino malo. En este barco me mataron como 5 veces una vez. No, tío. Ah, o sea, el dash cuenta como combo. No, cabrón. Vale. Oye, me he subido de nivel, perfecto. Vale, el final.
But they did not go unnoticed.
Creo que sí,
Scout ships lifted off, and the long lance of the Imperial flagship. Bernardo turned downwind to gain speed. The Raven ships could pursue, but they couldn't close. The Far Speaker croaked, "You return her and live!" "Go sacrifice yourself," yelled Reynardo. "Then you won't have her either." On the flagship, the Emperor was readying some arcane weapon. It couldn't be. It was the core. A devastating beam lanced out of the flagship. Reynardo zigzagged wildly to keep the Farfarer out of it. Now the Raven scout ships were closing the distance, and the beam was getting closer too. Then came a blinding flash, and the air was searingly hot all around him. There was a thunderous, deafening roar. He could smell burnt oak and burnt feathers and burnt flesh. But when he could hear and see again, they were alive and unhurt. And they were alone in the sky. Zenobia embraced him. They had done it. Through luck and through love, they had won the war. "Avalon, here we come," he said as he held her arms wide in the prow of the boat and let her feel its speed. "Maybe the real Avalon is wherever we're together," she said. And so, after a bit of an argument, Reynardo and Zenobia went to one of the two Avalons. The one shrouded in mists, or the one in their hearts. But which one they went to, I'll never tell. He'd done it. He'd forged his own destiny. Well, he hadn't actually done it, but he knew what he would do. Reynardo smiled at the book. He practically wanted to kiss it. The kid's sacrifice hadn't been in vain. He'd saved the book and saved the world. Reynardo owed him and his mother so much. Reynardo lowered the mainsail and let the Farfarer shoot forward in the breeze. Second star to the right, and straight on till morning. This time, he would win.
Vale, pues parece que sí. El final verdadero ya lo tenemos. Vale. Sí, es el final, pues ya, aparte del logro, me salen los créditos, tenemos un buen final, el libro se cierra. Bueno, pues llegamos al final de Stories de Path of Destinies. Como he dicho al principio, yo poco a poco continuaré jugando las diferentes historias que nos quedan. Si veo que voy bien de tiempo, subiré alguna más. Si no, pues haré eso, haré un vídeo explicándolas, enseñando las selecciones que hay que hacer, ¿vale? Para sacar determinados finales. Y poco más, la verdad. Es un juego entretenido, se puede hacer repetitivo, ¿eh? Eso sí, se puede hacer muy repetitivo. Pero es entretenido. Yo sí que le habría metido algo más de rollo al tema de las armas, ¿vale? Más formas de mejorarlas, más habilidades, que sean un poco más de... Yo qué sé, que sea un poco más útil usarlas. Porque te ponías a usar alguna magia y se consumía muy rápido la energía. Pero bueno, más mapas, ya que hay tantas historias, un par de mapas más habrían venido bien, ¿vale? Para no rayarte tanto. Pero bueno, lo han hecho de forma que tiene un poco de sentido, pero no habría venido mal. Y poco más, gente. Yo lo recomiendo, me parece interesante, entretenido para pasar el rato. Y si os gusta completar juegos, tenéis aquí tela. Así que nada, vamos a hacer como siempre. Vamos a ver los créditos. Si hay alguna cosilla más lo pondré al final. Y si no, pues nada. Espero que os haya gustado el juego, gente, la historia. Ponedmelo en los comentarios lo que os ha parecido el final verdadero y lo que os ha parecido el juego. Y yo nada, nos veremos dentro de poco en otro vídeo más. Seguimos con Jurassic Park, seguimos con Dash y alguna cosilla más que verdad. Así que nada, gente, como siempre digo, like si os ha gustado, dislike si no os ha gustado, cualquier cosa me lo ponéis en los comentarios, suscribiros al canal si no estáis suscritos, os gusta lo que veis y nada más, gente, nos vemos en la próxima. Hasta luego, adiós.